Hello rappers, this is Wrapped On. So today I'll be reviewing for the first season of DC Titans. So let's get into it. Now I've watched this show because my love for Marvel shows, comics, and movies have been really dying out. I've been recently just watching the same thing over and over and reading the same thing over and over and over, and I felt like I needed a change of pace. So I've started watching DC movies. I've went back to reading DC comics because, as you've seen in my comic book collection, um, I had this one DC comic and I've been buying more. There are really some really good comics. So I felt like I needed a change of pace. Hell, I even bought Justice League to watch that crap. I really needed a change of pace. I mean, this movie, I I heard it looks bad, but I have like a sweet place for bad movies. I mean, I love The Amazing Spider-Man 2 for God's sake, and I don't know, this movie looks really good. Let's just leave that behind. So yeah, so I went to watch DC Titans, and once I finished the first season, I went to search into the internet and found out that the second season is actually coming out. So I'm like, why don't I just review the first season? So yeah, let's get into it. Now, because this show is centered around more than one character, I am going to split this video into parts. I'm going to talk about each single person, each single character from the Titans, and then finally I'm going to talk about the show itself, the whole show.
Robin.
Now, the actor that plays Robin is really, really good. You can clearly see from the single shots of the action sequences that are amazing, by the way. As you can see from the action sequences, some of his one shots prove that he is such a great actor, such a good actor. His action sequences are so good. And now most of the time they have little to no cuts, other than some action sequences in the show that are like zoomed in and cut and zoomed in and cut. This actor proves himself really experienced, and I really like his suit, but unfortunately we don't get to see him as much in his suit. I actually think there are only 2 or 3 action sequences where he's actually wearing the Robin suit, and I really wanted to see more of him wearing the suit. Now, the action sequences are bloody, but that is to show the darkness that was within Robin, because the main idea within Robin is that he runs away from Batman to not involve himself within the same darkness. And when you get to see the first action sequences, you get to see him killing people and shoving their faces on walls and glass, and it is gruesome, and it clearly clarifies and shows you the darkness of Robin that he's gotten from Batman. So the point of his character, the main conflict of his character, is that he runs away from Batman to not get the same darkness. And at some point in the show, he finally realizes that he actually needs to stop and to control this darkness inside him. So after you get this awesome action sequence where he's not wearing the Robin suit for some reason, I really wish he wore that suit more, because it looks really great. So after he kills, knocks out and beats these guards that you're seeing now, he tells the Starfire to blow up the whole building, the whole asylum, and it really doesn't make sense with what he has been saying. So we get this very important scene where he's like, oh yeah, I need to stop my darkness, I need to control it, I need to stop, yeah? So what we get to see next is a whole building with patients, guards, and doctors getting blown up. Are we supposed to assume that all these doctors are villains and that's why they kill them? Are we supposed to assume that they got all the patients out and so that's why they blew up the asylum? Yet we never see any of that. And a few shots later, we get to see Robin looking over his suit, and his suit is gone. It's such a good suit, and we didn't really get to see him. Well, his action sequences with the suit were really awesome, but I felt like I needed more. I needed more action sequences with the suit. I needed to see him more as Robin, and that is the problem. I feel like they're rushing to get him to the part on being Nightwing, just because the idea around Robin, between all the Titans, he's the most well-known character. He's the most profitable character, which I should say. And I think that's why they're rushing the process of him getting into Nightwing. And I don't think that is he's really underdeveloped because of that reason. We don't see him deserve being Nightwing. Well, Nightwing, apparently he wants to control his darkness, right? And he wants to control his darkness, stop being like Batman, and then we think that he should deserve being Nightwing, because that's what he said in the beginning of the show. Yet we don't see him dealing with his darkness. We don't see him going over his darkness. We don't see him. He still kills people gruesomely, and yeah, his path is really underdeveloped. His journey is really rushed, and I think I needed a bit more time with Robin. He's really underdeveloped. I really needed to see him more as Robin, to think and to see him actually deal with his darkness, than say he's dealing with his darkness, to then think he deserved to be Nightwing. Now, going back on how Robin is the most profitable character, this show really centers around Robin. It's like the show is Robin and friends instead of Titans. It's like Robin is the main character and the other Titans are side characters, which is really, really bad. It is called Titans because they're all the main characters. They should all get their journeys, their backstories. For an instance, we should know more about them. We should know as much as we know from Robin. We should know as much as we know from Robin, just as we know as the Titans. We shouldn't know more about Robin just because more about Robin than the Titans. And I think that is because, going back to what I said, that Robin is the most profitable, just because he is Batman's first sidekick, and for that reason they keep touching back on his backstory, and you hear names like the Penguin and Joker and Bruce Wayne and Alfred, and they keep giving you Easter eggs of the bigger DC universe. Yet he gets a bit underdeveloped. The Titans get even more underdeveloped because it's centered around Robin. And you know, I'm a comic book fan. I geek out when I hear Joker and Batman. Yet I came to this show to watch Titans, and I don't see more Titans. I needed more Titans than just Robin, and that's because he's the most profitable character, and that is also a major problem that goes to the ending, but I'm going to touch on that later. Also, there is a deleted scene for the ending, how the ending should have actually been in the behind the scenes, which I'm also going to touch on later. So yeah, that is all about Robin. It's really honestly disappointing that he is the main point of the show. He is more like the main character of the show. Then the Titans get the side back, they get underdeveloped, while the show is called Titans.
I loved you.
I don't think I loved you, too. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a no. Wait!
Starfire.
Now, also the actress that plays Starfire is doing an amazing job. Hell, she's even one of the most comic book accurate. I think she's the most comic book accurate Starfire that I've seen, other than the animated series. Just her skin color, everything just looks top notch, except her suit, which is well, I don't like the suit. I know that they're going towards a more like a retro feel to Starfire ever since she was first shown. Yet it feels like I just don't like the suit. It just looks she's showing too much cleavage. I don't like the shoot. There is a suit that actually Starfire gets to use, but it is shown in a behind the scenes, which is what I've talked about before, and I'm going to talk more about later. But I wish she got that suit. I don't know why it was cut. Yet this is a show, so they still have the time to develop it for the next season. And I also like the special effects around her powers. They look amazing. From her green eyes to the light glowing light in her face, the veins showing in her face when she uses her powers, and the fire itself she emits. Everything about her powers looks amazing. The special effects don't look cheap at all. They look like a very big budget movie like effects. Yet unfortunately she doesn't get to use her powers as much, and that is a problem with every single Titan in the team, which is they don't get to use their powers as much. And I really wish they used every single Titan into their full potential. Yet, as I said before, because Robin is the main center, the main character of this show, the Titans get the backstage, and they don't get to be in their very full potential. Hell, not even Robin gets to be in his full potential. Now, going back to Starfire, I even liked how her backstory tied her to the Titans, yet I hated how they never went back. Why was to her origins? Why was she there in the first place? What did she have to do with the gangsters, the Russians? Why was she there? What did she have to do with them? What did she do anyways with them? We never get to know that, and I don't think they're going back to that idea. Yet the actress does a really good job. I enjoyed seeing her on screen. I wish her powers were used more.
She's the destroyer of worlds.
Raven.
Now with Raven, I like that they involved the Christian faith part of this character. Now with both, well, it makes her character more developed. It makes her character, we get to know more about Raven that we never got to know, and that is something that makes this show different from the two other Titans show, the children's one and the most popular one. They've never touched on Raven's Christian faith, and it makes you know more about the character. It makes the character more developed. It makes the character more interesting to have something that she always relies on. Her backstory, the fact that she was raised in the beginning of her childhood in a church, that is something. That is her backstory, and that is something you never get to know in the animated series. They probably touched on it a few bit of times in the animated series, yet we've never got to see as much development to Raven as we've seen in this show, and that is something that makes this show special against the other animated series. So I like that Christian faith around her. It makes her more developed. It makes her more interesting. To say. And speaking of the animated series, Raven in the popular one, not the kids one, even the kids one actually, she always uses her powers in very different ways each time. Sometimes she makes them into weird shapes and stuff, and yeah, so she always manipulates her powers. In this animated series, I didn't really like her powers. It was just this like one black line. It's just this black line, and she doesn't use them as much. She actually uses her powers the least, just for the fact that she's either learning about her powers or she's either afraid to use them and doesn't want to use them. So I hate that part. She stays that way the whole season. Yeah, I mean, at least you could have like developed her character more, just like how you're doing with Robin. You're actually dealing with his darkness to make him Nightwing. At least deal with Raven and make her solve her problem by the end of the season. Yet this season the ending doesn't feel like an actual ending. And it was also shown in the behind the scenes, which I'm going to touch on later. All of what I've been mentioning about the behind the scenes, I'm going to talk more about later. But her suit is the least comic accurate, which was also shown in the behind the scenes. You actually get to see her suit. Her dealing with her darkness, her dealing with her powers, and actually starting to use her powers in many different ways instead of it being just a one black line, would have actually been really, really good. It also looked a bit more really cheap, the special effects for Raven's power, compared to what Starfire's power looked. They looked amazing. Raven's looks like a student movie, or it looks really cheap. It looks like a very, very low budget movie, low budget show. So yeah, I really hated that part of her powers. Yet the actress, I think, does a very good job for what she was given. But I guess if the story isn't written good, the actress can't work with that. As I've always said, good writing is a very important thing. If the writing is not good, then the actress cannot do such a good job. And I think it is shown behind the writing that she's actually a good actress, but it's also shown that she cannot deal with the writing. She gonna turn around the writing just because that writing is really not the best, because it's just that she's either afraid of using her power or uses them for a split second. Afraid to use her power, or learning how to use her power, or not knowing how to use her power. And the most problematic thing is that they keep developing the idea, they keep going back to the idea that she can't use her powers. She's afraid of her powers. And you think at the end of the season, she will get to handle her powers properly, yet she doesn't. And that goes back to the idea where Robin is the center of all of the whole thing, and that is a major problem with the ending, which I'm going to touch on later. So yeah, this is all for Raven. She is really a disappointing character that I really wish was more developed, and I'm going to touch more about her and that behind the scenes scene later. So yeah, I think in the next season they're going to utilize her way better.
Beast Boy.
Now, Beast Boy is probably my favorite character. Now, he is my favorite character other than Robin, because Robin is like cool as hell. But I think character-wise, like the personality and characterization, this actor topped it off. I think between all the Titans, you can say he was the best actor. Not to disrespect the other actors, but it might have been because his character was written way better than the others. I'm solely speaking about character-wise, personality, how he's funny and charming and sweet. All those personalities that were shown in the animated show and were shown in the comics are present in this show. So character-wise, comic accuracy, he was from personality of the character, this actor topped it off. Now, speaking about the suit, I think I don't think he actually does have the least comic accurate suit, and he is also the only character that has the inaccurate comic suit and doesn't have a deleted scene with like a better suit, just like what Raven and Starfire had. He just has this suit that you're seeing right now, and it doesn't look good, but from the green hair, from what the character looks like, you couldn't mistake between all the Titans. You couldn't mistake this actor to Robin. So yeah, I think the character was really good. I enjoyed watching him. He has the least comic accurate suit, which was a bit disappointing. But it was okay. I didn't mind it, just because the others also had inaccurate suits in the show. But not speaking about the deleted scenes, which I'm going to speak about in the last part, which is right after this, by the way. So yeah, but there is one big problem with Beast Boy. I've talked about how his acting was good. I really liked seeing him in screen. I didn't mind him seeing with an inaccurate suit. It was okay. I mean, I really enjoyed him in screen. I only had one problem, is that even if you watched both animated shows, whether it was Teen Titans Go or Teen Titans, you would easily realize that. And then if you watch this DC Titans after Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go, you would realize that he's having the same problem as Raven, where he's not using his powers in their full potential. But this time, it's not because he's either learning or because he's either afraid of using his powers, just like Raven. But this time, Beast Boy is apparently the show came up with this excuse that apparently Beast Boy only turns into a tiger because he likes tigers. So yeah, that is the only reason apparently he turns into a tiger, and unfortunately that was really disappointing. to see like a Beast Boy on screen and then see him turn into one animal. And I think that was because they couldn't like get a whale in set. They couldn't get maybe they couldn't get a bear in set. They couldn't get like I think it would have been really hard. Like imagine if like there was this episode where like Beast Boy had to sneak into some places and they had to train the Strat and stuff. So I think maybe because they didn't have time to play with a lot of animals. So yeah, they only used the tiger. And that was a bit disappointing. I was really disappointed because I was really excited when I saw like Beast Boy when he was finally introduced in the best episode, Doom Patrol, which I'm going to talk about in the next part. I was really excited. I'm like, what is he gonna like turn into a live action whale, a live action bear, a live action I don't know, like weird stuff in like actual weird places. So that was really exciting at first, but then I was really disappointed to see that he's only turning into a tiger. But all of that aside, all of that was really disappointing. The actor is amazing. His acting is amazing. Although his suit is not comic accurate, and I haven't seen any suits planned for Beast Boy in a deleted scene or anything. At least his character arc was at least better than almost everyone. He had this problem where I won't really say it was the best character arc, but he had this emotional arc, which you probably seen because if you're watching this video and it's a spoiler review and you haven't watched the show yet, I don't know what you're doing here, but as you know, he has this problem where like he hasn't bitten anyone, and then when he actually bites off someone a doctor in the asylum, you get this really good acting. It's not like anything amazing or anything like that you haven't seen before, but his acting was really good. The writing, I think, behind him was really good. Unfortunately, just like with what was happening with Starfire and Raven and almost everyone of the Titans, his problem didn't get resolved in the end of the season. But yet, although they could solve it in the next season, yeah, I'm not complaining about that. But because I think the ending was really wasted. I mean, they could have easily closed a lot of character arcs if they didn't waste their ending in making it just a geek out for DC fans, and not making it and not wasting it on your most profitable character, Robin. So I think I'm going to talk about all of that in the next part. But yeah, Beast Boy was really good. Unfortunately, he suffers the same problem with a bit of the Titans, with having with not using his powers to the same potential, not having accurate suits. But that didn't really hurt his character a lot because his acting was really amazing. The actor was really good. Character-wise, he topped it. So yeah, I think I would put, before I go to the next part, I would want to say that I would put Beast Boy in second place, Robin in first place, just because he's really cool. Although he suffers a lot of problems, I think that the geek out technique is actually working, but that still doesn't make the show a good show. But although Robin might go to my favorite, it's either between Beast Boy and Robin. It's like, yeah, between both of these characters. And now between Starfire and Raven, I don't know. I don't think I can really rate these. I don't think I can differentiate between these characters or any of the Titans actually, because their problems haven't been resolved. They're either haven't used anything until their full potential. So I don't really know them as much as I should have by the end of the season, which is really disappointing. But yeah, Beast Boy was really, really good. The actor was good. So yeah, let's go to the next part.
When you're finished with that.
The show.
Now, in this last part, I will talk about the future of this show and what it could have done with the ending, which I've been talking about all through this video. I'm going to talk about what its full potential could have been, what the show actually could have been, and how it could have been way, way, way better. I'm also going to talk about what I'm expecting for season 2, the post-credit that they had, and what this show lacks. Now, I've talked about each single character and what their problem was because of how the show went. Now I'm going to talk about what the show did wrong in general, other than just having the problems of the main cast, the main titans not being resolved. The show itself also suffers some problems that I'm going to explain right now. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk about in this last part of the video of this review is that if you asked anyone what is their favorite episode of the show, unfortunately, it's not a main-centered Titans show, and it is Doom Patrol, which is just focused on developing the Doom Patrol. Now, the Doom Patrol are amazing. I haven't seen their episode yet, but just by watching that one episode, I really want to watch that show, and I'm actually going to watch it after I finish editing and uploading all of this. But yeah, I'm really excited to watch Doom Patrol because of that episode. But that is a very, very big problem that this show suffers, which is that it's really focused on developing characters that the DC streaming service is going to use. Doom Patrol, which is a really, 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 really good show now in the DC streaming service, and that's not bad. But because they focused on developing the Doom Patrol in that episode, we get the main cast with the main show. The show is called Titans, and the Titans are more underdeveloped through the whole season than what Doom Patrol was in that one episode. From that one episode, Doom Patrol, the whole Doom Patrol is more developed and more interesting and more, just way better in every single way in that one episode than the Titans, and they got the whole season to, and that is also, that can go back to the ending, but let's just keep going with this, focusing on developing other stuff for this DC streaming service, because you also have Hawk and Dove. Now, Hawk and Dove are also amazing, just like Doom Patrol, but I wouldn't rate them that high. But I really, really, really enjoyed Hawk and Dove. I think if I had to go between watching a Hawk and Dove show or a Doom Patrol show, now I haven't seen. Now I know that there's no Hawk and Dove show. If I'm mistaken, just correct me in the comments below. But and I haven't seen the Doom Patrol show, so I couldn't really judge it. But it might be like the best thing ever. But but before watching Doom Patrol, if there was a show for Hawk and Dove and a show for Doom Patrol, I would rather watch Hawk and Dove. And because the characters are like, they spend literally 2 episodes developing them, and there is, oh my god, this show is called Titans, right? You'd expect that there would be no episode not about the Titans. It might be You could say there would be a show where like one of the Titans is there with a side character just to develop that side character. But no, literally, there's this one episode where they take you through the whole backstory of Hawk and Dove. Although it's really, really, really good, you're still... you're developing other characters while your main cast, Titans, are underdeveloped. And even by the ending, they're way underdeveloped than what Hawk and Dove are in 2 episodes. Titans are way underdeveloped than what Doom Patrol are in 1 episode. It's like, it's crazy, you know. I know that they needed to develop such characters to, like, this might not be a big problem for DC right now. They already announced, as I said in the beginning of this video, they've already announced their 2nd season for Titans, so I'm guessing people are watching. It also has a good rating in Rotten Tomatoes with critics and audience scores, so they're not having a problem, but it is really disappointing. This show has really good potential, although they're not focusing on the main cast, and the ending is really problematic, I should say, because if it was disappointing, I would be lying that I didn't geek out through that whole last episode. But it is problematic, I should say, and that problematic episodes make the Titans, which is the main cast of this show, disappointing, while the other side characters that are being developed to have their own streaming services are way more interesting than the Titans. Although I can't really say that as much because I really like the Titans, but it's really disappointing. The Titans have really, really, really great potential. There is a reason why you hear more about the Titans in comic books than you hear about Doom Patrol in comic books. Hell, I didn't even know that Doom Patrol was a thing before the show, and it's disappointing that because they're focused on developing other characters, the Titans get really, really, really underdeveloped. They don't get used for their full potential. And all these problems that I've talked about and I've criticized about every single character, they could have all been solved if they had more focus on them, other than wasting 2 episodes developing Hawk and Dove and 1 episode developing Doom Patrol. If you just took out these 3 episodes, Doom Patrol and these 2 Hawk and Dove episodes, if you took them out and replaced them with more episodes of the Titans, the show, the ending would have been as problematic as it is. So yeah, speaking a lot about the ending, which I'm going to get to, and it's all I've been talking about this video, about the deleted scenes and behind the scenes and suits and stuff, I'm all going to talk about. But yeah, this is my first issue that I'm going to talk about on this last part, the show, which is that they're really focusing on developing other characters for their streaming service. There's also some problems with developing other characters. Although I've talked about how Hawk and Dove and Doom Patrol are really good, you have Jason Todd, which, if you don't know, he turns into the Red Hood in the comics. And Jason Todd is really, really, he's a really good character. And when reading the comics, it's really nice to see how he develops from this Batman sidekick into this police beating character, into this violent justice warrior character that evolves from being the new Robin. But the problem with Jason Todd in Titans is that it's the same thing what they're doing with Robin. They're going fast and fast and fast and fast so they could turn him into a profitable character, Nightwing. With Jason Todd, they're going fast and fast and fast. Literally, the first I mean, I don't really remember, but if it's his first appearance or his second appearance, but the first time he gets to fight or he gets to meet with police officers, he starts beating them up, beating them up, beating them up, and they're showing you this violence that turns Jason Todd into the Red Hood. Yet they don't get time to develop it. He says that always when he's with Batman, he doesn't get well treated as he should have because he's done the cop's job, and that is. We don't get to see that. We don't get to see the cops disobeying you with Batman. We don't get to see you thinking that you should have get violence with the cops. You didn't develop that path. Just like Robin. They're not developing that path well until he turns into Nightwing. Just with Jason Todd. Just as he gets to meet with cops, he starts beating them up. Oh, look, he's getting violent. He's going to be the Red Hood. And I don't really care. Okay, so what? I didn't see him being peaceful in some episodes. I didn't see him like getting angry when he's discussing with cops or anything. I didn't even see him discussing with cops. He just got straight ahead into beating cops. And what's good with Red Hood is, interesting about Red Hood is that when he was just the new Robin, it was good. It was not. It was interesting to see how he got mad at first from being disrespected by the cops, and then how he developed into this violent vigilante. And we don't get to see any of that. He's just being rushed so that he turns into the Red Hood, and that is really, really, really problematic. I think he's the most underdeveloped side character between the Doom Patrol and Hawk and Dove. He's suffering the same problem as Robin, and that is really also just disappointing, just because he's also another profitable character. Now, if you look at the posters of the show and the very main one that I'm using in my thumbnail, you could see that there is no Cyborg, and I'm pretty sure, and I wish he actually joins the Titans team in the next season, because so far now, as I've said, I haven't watched Doom Patrol, but so far as I've seen in the trailers, he looks way better than what the Cyborg in Justice League is, because yet he has more I don't think there's any CGI used on him anyways. It is all practical effects, no CGIs. Literally, Cyborg was a CGI mess in Justice League. So yeah, thank God this Cyborg looks really, really good, and I'm even more interested to know more about Cyborg when I'm going to watch Doom Patrol right after this. So yeah, let's wish that they get Cyborg to join the Titans team in the second season. Towards the beginning of the show, you get to know this detective that apparently wanted to work with Robin, but everyone thinks that Robin had this partner back in Gotham that might have gotten harmed or died, and Robin has not wanted to get a new partner ever since that happened. And so you get to know this partner that really wants to work with Robin, and then this psycho family, that wants to get Raven back to her father. They ask the detective where is Raven and stuff, and I think she doesn't tell them because she actually doesn't know, and they get to kill her. But I actually don't know what is her purpose to introduce her into the show. Yet when they tell Robin that she is dead, Robin doesn't care. When she dies, it's not like Robin lost anything. It's not like it benefited Robin. It's not like it benefited the Titans. It's like she was a useless character. I don't know why you introduced her into the show. What was her purpose? There was literally no purpose at all for this character, and it's really just weird. I mean, you introduce the character, and I thought maybe the character might have something to do, an important thing. Maybe it will affect Robin in a way. Yeah, it didn't, because he didn't become her partner. It's not like she told where Raven is, because she doesn't know. So it's not like her purpose was to tell the family where Raven is. She just dies. And if I'm mistaken, please tell me in the comments below if she actually tells the family that where Raven is. But if I'm remembering correctly, she doesn't tell them. So even if she does, she has no purpose at all. She doesn't affect anything in the show. Literally introducing her didn't benefit the show at all. Like, if you cut every single scene with her, you wouldn't realize anything has been missing. So I don't know what was the purpose of introducing that detective. Now, I know that a bunch of you hate High Top because you think he's biased with his Spider-Man videos, but I really recommend you to watch his video about the problem with Titans. It's a 2-part series. It's really good, and he doesn't have. I know that you might think he's really biased on his Spider-Man videos and about how Raimi is the best, has the best Spider-Man trilogy, but his video about Titans is really good, and I recommend you to see it. But talking about his video, he mentioned a thing about binge watching the show on Netflix, and he said that the weekly episodes idea doesn't really suit the Titans if you watched it back when it was premiering in the DC universe, because there is not really a time span between each episode, and so you're supposed to remember what happened in the last episode, which happened a week ago, and you might forget some details. And I kind of agree, but because in the other hand, with me, I watched it on Netflix, I binged it on Netflix, and so I don't really have this problem with forgetting what happened after each episode, or yeah. So I think I'm not really sure why some of the trailers on the DC streaming service says that the Titans is an exclusive show, yet when it is on Netflix, it says a Netflix exclusive. I'm not really sure if they sold the show. I think Netflix owns the show to stream it, and DC cannot literally take it back, because it's like it is like a Netflix show now. But I think the DC streaming service gets to premiere early episodes of the second season when the second season comes out. So I think that's what's happening with the Titans, and I didn't have the same problem with forgetting what happens after each episode, because I actually binged watched the show on Netflix and didn't have to wait in each week. And please watch the High Top video. It is really good, and I don't think he's biased in any way or any shape or form. Just watch it. It is funny, it's inspiring, it's really good, and I'll put it in the link in the description. I recommend you to watch it. And yeah, it is not like his Spider-Man videos. And yes, speaking of the problem, I didn't have any problem on what he mentioned. I just wanted to mention it because it seemed like a big issue he had on his video about how forgetting what happened in the last episode, but this time, because I binged watch it on Netflix, so I didn't have the same problem. Speaking of CGI, I want to say that the CGI in here is really bad. Just as I mentioned with like some of Raven's powers look really bad, the CGI is really bad. And it's probably because they don't have a big budget to spend on CGI. It's not like a movie budget. it's a show in the like in the end, so they won't have that big of a budget for CGI, and the CGI looks awful, 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 awful. I mean, there's this scene where literally it is also a big problem, that episode itself where that scene happens, because in that episode, I don't know which episode it is, but soon after the Titans finally get, yeah, it is the episode after the asylum. After they finally get out of the asylum, they finally become a team. And Robin suddenly decides to leave the team. And the whole purpose of that episode is to develop Wonder Girl. And it's so bad. It goes back to the idea which I've talked about on how they're really focused on developing other characters for their streaming service. It is really bad. And speaking of that episode, they had this scene where like Wonder Girl jumped over a truck and it looks awful, so bad. The CGI was horrible. And soon after you get Robin doing the same trick, yeah, it looks way better because it's more practical. And literally they should stop using CGI if you don't have the money for it. Practical effects look way better. I mean, even if you had the budget for it to do a good CGI, practical effects will always look better. And I keep saying that in every single one of my videos. So yeah, that is what I wanted to mention. That episode on how they wanted to develop Wonder Girl, and on how the horrible CGI was on that episode. I mean, just stay on practical effects if you can't afford it. And now we reach the last and final part of this very long spoiler review. Now, what I've been talking about this whole video is that behind the scenes and all the stuff going around it, and the ending, the deleted ending in a way. So if you watched the show, you would know that the ending is really problematic, and the ending didn't have it looked like a mid-season ending more than a season ending. None of the arcs got accomplished. And it's just because they want you to geek out. Literally, you get Raven's dad. Finally, the arc with Raven's dad is done. He finally comes back to Raven. Yet Robin comes in, and you get this illusion where Robin is in a good place and he has a family. Yet he chooses to help Batman against he chooses to go within his darkness than to stay with his family, and so he gets controlled by Raven's dad, and that was really bad. I think they used that just to show Batman and just to make all the people geek out. There is also, as I've said, a Starfire suit that looks really good, a Raven suit that looks really good that wasn't shown in the show, and I'm supposing that there is also a secret ending with the last scene with Raven. Supposedly maybe she defeats her dad, maybe there is a final fight with her and her dad, and she finally gets the suit. And I wish that we got to see that ending. I mean, yeah, this is what I've been setting up. The ending is so problematic. They go all the way to make you geek out. The ending has no purpose to it. It is just a cheap way to make you geek out. Literally, I wasn't really an end of the season is supposed to make you interested for a season 2. Yeah, I wasn't interested because of that last episode. The last episode is so bad. I mean, although I geeked out, it is bad. It is bad for a last season episode, none of the arcs get done. We don't get to see the comic accurate suits. We don't get excited for the next season because of that last episode. We don't get any of the arcs shut. We don't get any of the arcs accomplished and done and closed, and none of that happens in the last episode. It is so bad, and it looks like it was deleted and undone, and so they went the cheap way with the Batman thingy, and it's so bad. I came here to watch Titans. The show is called Titans, so I clicked on it, put it on my list on Netflix, and went to watch it thinking that I'm gonna get a whole season, a whole show about the Titans. I mean, back then when I first watched the Titans, I was actually watching the Dark Knight Christopher Nolan trilogy. Now, yeah, I didn't watch that like ages ago, but yeah, as I said in the beginning of this video, I'm going on a DC streak, you know. I'm trying to go all DC instead of Marvel, and I was watching the Christopher Nolan trilogy back when I put Titans on my list. And so I'm like, I already have Batman comics. I already have Batman, a lot of Batman movies. I already have Batman cartoon shows, animated Batman movies. I've talked about owning the Phantasm movie from the old animated Batman show, which is really good. I could just put that DVD inside, and just watch it. I'm not searching for more Batman in a Titans show. I've already got a lot of Batman. I needed Titans. I clicked on the show to watch Titans, and it is just a cheap geek out way because they couldn't finish the ending in time, and the ending looked really good. It looked like they had a better show in hand than what we ended up with. I mean, Starfire getting her suit, it looks like the arcs of the characters got finished in that first season. It looks like Raven got her actual comic accurate suit. Who knows what also might have happened to Beast Boy in the end of the actual ending. So yeah, it is really disappointing. The ending is really disappointing. And now that we've talked about the ending, we finally get to the very last part, which is the post-credit. Now, the post-credit even opens more problems. They introduce Superboy. Now, I knew that Superboy actually exists. I knew that who is Superboy. But yeah, I didn't know anything about him. So I went to watching the Young Justice show, and it's really good. I'm still in the first season. I mean, it is a really good show, and I got to know a lot about Superboy. And when I got to know more about Superboy, I got more worried for the Titans, because I've seen of Young Justice, Superboy is a really complicated and really interesting character, and his driving force. I mean, what is really focused on the main focus of Superboy is that he's a complicated character. I think he's the most complicated character of the Young Justice. And I mean, as I've said through this whole video, the Titans are so underdeveloped by the end of this season because of that bad last episode, because they didn't use the actual deleted scenes that were supposed to be in the show, because they probably haven't finished it. So because now the ending is really bad, and they used it for a Batman geek out, and so the Titans get really underdeveloped. And when you introduce an even more complicated character, I actually think, after watching Young Justice, I actually think that Superboy is even more complicated than what the whole Titans are. And I think that introducing such a complicated character opens even more problems for season 2, because first you need to introduce Superboy, introduce Superdog, which I'm guessing because he gets a dog, I think that's Superdog. So you need to introduce that. You need to deal with the complicated character of Superboy. You need to close the arcs that weren't shut on season 1. You need to do an actual ending to season 1 when opening season 2. How will they continue after that messy ending? It opens a lot of problems for season 2 just by seeing season 1, and it's really I mean, this show is really enjoyable. This show is really good. You will like watching it. I didn't stop binge watching it. Yet, if it's really disappointing because it doesn't go near or live up to the animated series. It doesn't live up to the animated series at all. The animated series is way more superior than this Titans show, and it's really disappointing because with a live action show, I mean, it could open up a lot of interesting possibilities that are so interesting to watch and see. I mean, imagine what you could have done with a live action Titans show. Yet because they don't handle it as much, this show could be one of the best live action superhero shows. Yet I don't think the creators really know how to manage such a show. They haven't closed the arcs of the characters by the end of this first season. I mean, and they're adding a more complicated character onto the show for season 2, and that opens even more problems. That is really bad, and I'm actually really worried for season 2, because by the looks of it, season 2 is looking to go downhill. And yeah, I'm really I'm worried for the show. But yeah, this is my spoiler review. This has been a very long video. I wish you've enjoyed it. This is all I had to talk about Titans. I'm just worried about season 2. But rating season 1, although it is not the best show ever, it is not it's so disappointing. It doesn't live up to what the Titans really are, but the rating for this show is actually an 8.5 out of 10. I recommend everyone to watch this. Although I've mentioned a lot of problems, an 8.5 is actually well deserved for this show. I mean, this show is well handled from the action. It is well handled from the comic accuracy of, although I'm not counting the deleted scenes, some of these suits that are there so far, but Beast Boy, are all comic accurate. So that is really good. The looks of the characters, developing the side characters, although I've said because they focus on developing the side characters and the Titans get underdeveloped, the side characters are actually really good. But Jason Todd, because I've just talked about how bad they're handling that character to make him a more profitable character. So yeah, this show could easily become a 10 out of 10. Yeah, it's not. It is not a 10 out of 10. It is an 8.5 out of 10. And that is really disappointing. It could easily be a 10 out of 10. Yet they don't shut down the they shut the arcs. They don't handle any of that, and they're introducing even more complicated characters, and the Rotten Tomatoes score is going down. So, I mean, introducing an even more complicated character that you need to handle and shut down the arcs of these characters is opening a lot of problems for the second season. So the second season might be even worse than what this is, and it's really disappointing. I don't know how they're gonna handle all of this. So yeah, an 8.5 out of 10 is the final rating of this show. I can't believe that I'm finally done with this review, because this review has been taking me days and days and days and days and days and days. I've been editing this for days and shooting this for recording this for days. And yeah, some of you asked that I should do a Spider-Man Homecoming spoiler review. So, and some of you want me to talk about Captain Marvel. So yeah, as I promised, I'm going to do a Spider-Man Homecoming spoiler review. And just because I'm not really interested to watching Captain Marvel, I mean, from what I've heard, I've actually stopped myself from watching that movie at all. I haven't thought about going to the theater to watch that movie. I haven't thought of even pirating that movie. I mean, I've just cancelled myself and I don't want to watch any of that movie, but I will try just to do a spoiler review. I will try. I said I have a lot to talk about Captain Marvel just from the problems that I've heard about what they've done with the Skrulls, from the problems that Brie Larson has done. So around this movie. So yeah, I will do a Spider-Man. Although I've said that I'm going on a DC streak, I'm trying to do all DC now. I'm just going to do a Spider-Man Homecoming and a Captain Marvel spoiler review before I start going in an actual DC streak. But yeah, I wish you enjoyed this very, very long DC Titans spoiler review and understood where I've been going with the problems. Although I've mentioned a lot of problems, they're actually justifiable. I've given it an 8.5 because it's not a down to the ground trash show. It is really good. You can easily see from the first few episodes that this show has a lot of potential. This show could have easily been good if you haven't taken out the deleted scenes and closed the arc on the characters. I know I'm repeating myself over and over, but I want to keep this on your mind. I want it embedded into your mind. I'm not saying that this is a bad show. This could easily be a good show. I'm just saying that it is not perfect. And I've mentioned all the problems, and I've mentioned also the good stuff. So don't say that I've been trashing this show, okay? And I've given it an 8.5. That is a good rating for this show. So yeah, I wish you enjoyed this review. I will do the Spider-Man Homecoming and Captain Marvel spoiler review, and I will be reviewing more DC. I'll be reviewing more DC movies and shows from now on because I'm trying to go on a more DC streak. And I've been really interested to watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I'm going to do a rapid-on quick shot for. So I went to my cinema because I've seen that we're in my country. I've searched in IMDb and it says that this Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is supposed to release in my country in July 16. Yeah, it wasn't on the theater, so I asked them and they said that the movie is coming out in the theater in August 15. So expect Once Upon a Time on Hollywood Rapid-on quick shot in like August 16 or 17. So yeah, this is all I have from updates and this review. I can't believe it's actually done. So yeah, follow me on my Instagram. It's going to be in the link in the description. And just wait, listen to me here. Some of you have been commenting on random videos to ask me to do stuff. Now, I think that it is way better if you go over to my Instagram and DM me, and I can talk to you about updates on what I'm doing, on what do you actually want me to review. You could DM me on and if you want to chat about comics, even if you want to chat about comics and movies, just DM me on my Instagram and we can talk there. So yeah, it's going to be in the link in the description. If you want to talk to me there and recommend me and just, hell, we can even argue with each other about movies and comics. Just DM me right there. It's going to be in the link in the description. So yeah, follow my Instagram and yeah. I also have a Twitter, but I don't use it as much. But if you're interested to follow it, you are welcome. And yeah, this is my review. I wish you have a nice rest of the day.